Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. One of the more notable NBA prospects that were not drafted in last night's draft is, of course, Adama Sanogo, the superstar in college basketball that won UConn their national championship. So in today's video, I'm going to be analyzing Adama Sanogo, listing off his strengths and weaknesses as an NBA prospect in order to determine can Sanogo carve out a good NBA career despite being undrafted. So shortly after the draft was over, the Chicago Bulls offered Adama Sanogo a two-way deal, which he signed. Diving into some of his measurables and his accolades at UConn, he's 6'9", 245 pounds. He very recently turned 21 years old and he played 3 seasons at UConn. This year he put up 17.2 points per game. In the previous season, he put up 14.8 points per game. Now, he did show a three-pointer this year after really attempting none in his entire collegiate career. He shot 36.5% on threes on 1.3 attempts per game, which is actually a really nice sample size for Sanogo. Overall, this season, he shot 60.6% from the field, which is absolutely phenomenal. One of the more efficient players in college basketball when it comes to scoring around the rim. Now, he had 26 points per game this season per 40-minute stats. Getting into some of his accolades and accomplishments real quick, of course, he is an NCAA champion, and he was the best player on an NCAA championship team. He, of course, made the all-tournament team, and he was ultimately rewarded the NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player Award, meaning he was the best player to play in the entire tournament. It might be confusing to some why a player who was arguably the best player in college basketball last season went undrafted, and he's still relatively young, just turned 21. Well, I will answer that question as I will dive into some of his tendencies, his strengths, and weaknesses. I am higher on Sanogo than the majority of people, in my opinion. Now, he's a very polished post player. That's the very first thing you will notice when watching Adama Sanogo. He's a guy who can operate from both blocks. He has really nice footwork to create open layups, open dunks, and open floaters around the rim. Even when facing a 7-footer, he consistently got open looks around the rim when in ISO because of that really nice footwork that he does possess. He also has a phenomenal anchor and play strength down low. He's consistently bodying guys at the college level. He straight up seemed like a man among boys at the college level in terms of the play strength, not only offensively but defensively, constantly bullying the other team's center, which is absolutely going to translate right away into the NBA. He also has phenomenal touch around the rim. For such a powerful player with that really nice play strength profile, his touch is very nice, not only on his layups, on his floaters around the rim, but his mid-range shot and his three-pointer shot has a very nice touch to it. He's constantly shown improvement on those shots throughout his career, and he's even shown nice touch and improvement on his free throws. He has a very competent, solid shooting form, especially for a big man, especially for a center. He's displaced a really nice mid-range shot, as I just mentioned, and really that three-point shot is so intriguing because when you look at prospects like Sanogo, the big negative is, oh, this player is straight out of 2005. All he does is have a really nice post game, and while his post game is really good, we think of guys like Jahlil Okafor that just failed in the NBA because they were not able to space the floor. Well, this year, he absolutely worked on his ability to be a pick and pop guy at the NBA level. He's one of those Al Horford-esque shooters in the sense that he's the guy that the defense is going to leave open. He doesn't have the fastest quick trigger on his shot. In fact, there's a bit of a mental delay on his shot in the sense of he's not going to get the ball on the perimeter and shoot it right away. He's going to take a second or two to pull the trigger on his shot. But once he does, it goes in at a very nice, consistent clip considering he is wide open. So at the NBA level, when Sanogo checks in at center and is the pick and pop guy on deep mid-range shots, and three-point shots, he's going to be a very consistent, competent shooter that will knock down those open shots. And Sanogo does not get enough credit. Again, he's that brute guy with a lot of play strength, but he doesn't get enough credit for being a very smart, heady player out there who understands leverage, he understands shot angles, and he really understands pump fakes. That's something that you guys will really notice when watching this video. Again, he just gets the exact point to catch his defender off guard to get an open layup around the rim. He's also a very hard screen setter. We talk about that big frame, 245 pounds. He's going to absolutely devastate guards at the NBA level with his really hard screens. I talked about how smart Sanogo is, and that really shows on offense and defense. He's rarely out of position on both sides of the court. And in terms of rebounding, at the next level, that size, that lack of vertical and burst is definitely going to hurt him on the boards, but he's a very physical guy that consistently wins box outs. He does a good job at predicting where the ball is going to come off the rim, and again, that tenacious attitude that he brings will make him a solid rebounder at the NBA level, in my opinion. So let's dive into some negatives now about Sanogo. He, of course, is a very undersized center, and the thing is with undersized centers that work in the NBA, you think of guys like Robert Williams. Robert Williams is much more fast, he's much more athletic, and he's much more agile than Sanogo is. Sanogo's a guy who does not have a crazy amount of foot speed or agility. He really cannot guard perimeter at all. If you have Sanogo on a power forward that can really create on the perimeter, if you have him switch onto any guard or any wing in the NBA, it's honestly a free 2 points. It's absolutely automatic. I love Sanogo, but there's no way in hell he can guard the perimeter at the NBA level, which in my opinion is the number one reason why he went undrafted. If Sanogo's going to want to not get exposed in the pick and roll or pick and pop at the NBA, quite simply, he's going to have to sacrifice a bit of play strength, a bit of that big frame that he does possess in order to cut some weight and maybe add some functional mobility to his size and to his frame. And again, he really is not an explosive athlete. He's not a guy with a crazy vertical. All in all, I really love Adama Sanogo's offensive game. It absolutely will work at the NBA level. He's just too well-rounded offensively to not be a good offensive player at the NBA level. It really is defensively. Can he ever carve out an NBA role and get onto an NBA court because of the lack of defensive upside that he brings? Now, he does have a really nice anchor down low, so if he can just work on some of that vertical burst that he does not have at the moment in order to make up for some of the skills that the 7-footers have at the NBA level, I think he'll actually be a really solid paint defender because he was an elite paint defender at UConn. All he needs to do is take a little bit of size off of his frame in order to maybe play the pick and roll better on the defensive end. Thanks for listening, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Adama Sanogo? And Bulls fans, are you excited that your team picked him up in undrafted free agency?